Welcome back to the last PavsPod of the season. Phil, how you doing?
I'm very well. Even more excited than usual, as you can tell by my voice.
You're a little bit poorly sick, aren't you?
I'm not feeling. Well, I don't feel ill. I just can't stop coughing. Oh, you nearly got me then.
There was nearly a cough.
I just can't stop coughing, and yeah, since my little boo boo on my nose, I've been a bit snuffly.
That was 2 weeks ago in the semi-final. You boo-booed your nose, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 10 days ago.
10 days.
Jonty tried to drown me. So a bit of blood went into my lungs, which I've been coughing up for the last week, and I think that might have caused a little bit of a issue with my chest. But if I went to the doctors, I could probably find out, couldn't I? But
we don't need to go to the doctors. We're rugby players.
yeah, well, I just self-diagnose and not have the required medicine.
Well, exactly. We don't need medicine. We're natural athletes, I think. So this podcast is all about a review of the season. And we have I'd say a special guest, a special in other terms. Yeah, a special needs guest coming on a bit. But I'm going to ask you about the one thing I want to know about this season. It was the first pub golf back this year. What's your review of the pub golf this year, Phil?
The pub golf was very good. Now, I didn't partake in it fully due to some logistical issues. But I joined at the boathouse.
Yeah.
The canal house, sorry, not the boathouse. I joined at the canal house and followed the rest of you round. The fall down was again Osbar, as it always is every year.
Always.
Everyone feels good coming out of the old trip after a little sing song, walk up the hill, and then have a quick photo with Robin Hood.
Royal Children.
Children, where we were in there for so long for no reason.
So long. And
then the air hits you in that 200-meter walk to Osbar, and suddenly everyone's absolutely hammered.
I know. That's where we see the first of the backdoorers go. We saw, out of everyone, Ollie Hansen backdoor it.
Ollie's reasoning wasn't for alcohol; it was for hunger. He hadn't eaten.
I know. Rookie error.
And Ref left with him.
Ref. Let's be honest. Ref's actually quite a good guy.
Oh, he's a lovely guy. I still don't know his actual name.
But I don't understand how they're friends.
No, I don't either.
No.
But then again, Ollie would probably say that about me and him. So
I'm not sure Ollie has any friends. He just hates everyone. So, did you make it to beer keller?
Yes. Me and Theo were the first to beer keller. Theo will claim that he finished first, which to be fair he did. We got to beer keller, and I think Mole and Roe were with us as well. But Roe quite forcibly told me not to buy Mole a drink, and then I offered to buy her a drink. And as I was purchasing the drinks, she backdoored it with Mole, which was apparently Mole's idea, which shows real maturity from young Mole.
I was going to say, that's good for Mole to go, no more, I'm off.
And then we had, obviously, Rimo's tears for the third time in the evening. And
to be fair, he had a scrap. Well, not a scrap, a cuddle with Stevie, which, to be fair to him, was a brave move.
Stupid move. I think you mean stupid move.
It was a stupid move, but he got off lightly by just being shown the door by the bouncer.
He got saved by bouncer.
He got saved by the bouncer. Imagine that story coming out if Rimmer battered Stevie.
So it wasn't the loudest or liveliest pub golf, but it was very good return to form for most. Jonty, I've got to admit, kudos to Jonty for a change. He did very well.
He did all right. He stuck to semi-pro, and all he was shotting all night was Malibu. But for Jonty, that's pretty good.
You pick your horse.
You do.
And his horse was his little sister.
That's not very nice.
Yeah, there's a reference there to the fact that she works with horses, but it came across a little bit abusive.
And to be fair, Sam Green is the best drinker out of all of them. So she
yeah. No, she didn't seem drunk.
No,
which was worrying.
scarily.
Yeah,
Maybe she was drunk, but we were slightly. I don't think I was that drunk compared to her.
I wasn't that drunk at all.
No,
But
I took the tactic of because people kept asking me why do you keep downing it? Because I realised we're in each pub for about half an hour. So down a pint, you've got 25 minutes to spare.
yeah,
So you're not backing and backing. You're doing all right there. So it's pub golf. The last 2 weeks have been quite all right, to be fair, in terms of things. Firstly, Scunthorpe semi-final. What a win.
yeah, that was really good. That was a really good performance from everyone. I think we kind of knew we had the beating of Scunthorpe in a way. From the last two times we played them, we just lost out in the sort of final third in the last two games. So yeah, no, it was a really good performance, really energetic performance. You know, some real effort going in, and we was it 2014 we won?
Yeah.
So you know, it's a great win on Sponsors Day as well, which is always good. And then coming into the Doncaster game, I think we were quite positive. And to be fair, we just left a little bit on the pitch. Scoreline might slightly flatter Doncaster, 48 points. I think 2 or 3 of their tries could have been avoided, but it was a good performance. You know, we've scored 38 points, some good tries in there, so we can't be too disheartened. So yeah, it's just minor frustration to finish the season on a loss, but it was quite a good game, and I think both teams played it in the right spirit with a pretty poor referee.
Yeah, we don't like to bang a referee on here. He's young and trying to improve himself, but there's a lot of improvement left from what I could see on the pitch.
Yeah, I think when like players are discussing the decision he's made after he's made the decision in front of him, it's kind of shows that he may be losing both sides rather than just one. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating, but I think, you know, we've had a tough season. It's been hard work. Nothing to play for really, apart from pride, and you know, we've lost a lot of people along the way. You know, we've had quite the injury list. So we'll go into next year into a new league system and try again.
Yeah, 100%. And for those who don't know the new league system, do you want to give us a bit of an overview quickly?
Yeah, we've been absolutely shafted. There's a pretty overview. So essentially, just the way we stay in Tier 5, but Tier 5 goes from 4 leagues to 6 leagues, and Tier 4 goes from 2 to 3. So there's sort of a pyramid set up. We've somehow ended up in the North East League, which it's not just us, to be fair. Bridgeford and Derby, I know Bridgeford definitely will be. I'm not sure about Derby yet, but we'll be in that league as well. So there's plenty of trouble for them too. Doncaster will be in that with us as well. Phoenix, Scunthorpe will be in that with us. So there are some more local games for us next year, and new opponents as well, I think, which will be quite nice. So it'll be interesting. I mean, we're playing some good teams. You've got York, you've got Heath, Driffield, Billingham, Alnwick. You know, all these clubs that the club probably hasn't played for 20 to 30 years. So it'll be a real good sort of opportunity for the lads to go out and see some different clubs, and also a vastly different style of rugby, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, from playing in the 2s and 3s, playing the same teams every week is pretty fucking boring. But what's the? And I mean, let's point out the obvious. Anna, what's the thoughts about that travel?
Oh, Ruth loves it. I can't explain. I mean, Alnwick must be used to it. You know, it doesn't matter what league they're in; they're travelling.
Yeah.
Unless they play in the Scottish leagues. But even for them to have to come down to Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire 3 times in a season, and Lincolnshire, so they've got 4 trips south of the Humber. It's mad. Well, that's 5 if you include Doncaster. So
yeah.
that's absolutely mental for them.
Oh, crazy! I mean, my geography is not great, but on the hour, how far is that for them to come down to this
To
part?
come to us, Derby and Bridgeford, it's 4 hours.
That's horrible, isn't it?
It's probably 3.5 to Doncaster.
See, you must have done that in your pro days, but it can't have been as bad because there's a little bit of little bit
Well,
of
you
catching.
sign up for that,
Yeah.
and you don't have work on Friday. You're
Mm.
traveling on Friday, and you're staying in a hotel, and you get fed, and you got a routine before games and stuff. Barely any of our lads will have done that,
Yeah.
and it's a totally different world to step into. But at the same time, every other team in the league is going to be in the same position.
Yeah.
And me and George were talking about it the other day that it's just going to be about who can win the home games. If you can win your home games and nick a few away games, you'll be in good stead.
100%.
But yeah, it'll be different, and it'll be a bit of an experience for lads. There's only now 12 teams per league rather than 14, so we've dropped 4 games, so we should technically not be as tired at the end of the season. But I think this season's also sort of shrunk, so every league game's finished by March, and then there's some kind of national cup competition after that. But me and George were saying, we might stumble in the first hurdle on that one. I think the RFU haven't quite done what they've said in terms of reducing travel. They definitely haven't done that, unless you live in London.
But that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. If you're the RFU, as long as London's okay.
Inside the M25.
Yeah, down to Brighton and Canterbury. That's it. That's well looked after.
God's country. It's Canterbury.
God's country. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see. Can't do anything about it. My plans for a breakaway franchise system aren't quite up and ready to go yet, but give it a year or so. That's patented, so no one can steal that. And
talked about it, didn't we? You discussed it. I said I'll buy in.
Yeah, I didn't. Your £10 wasn't going to stretch very far. But
£10. Sorry, I thought I'd text you 5, but £10 is fine. £10 is fine.
Yeah. No, I think we'll see how this is reacted by all the clubs. I think it's gonna. We're on the cusp of the borders in terms of the league. So next season we might stay in that league, and then the season after we could be in the middle league, the Central League anyway, just because of the way the teams fluctuate. So it's one of those things where teams are going to be shifting leagues all the time. I mean, Bedford Athletic, I think, have ended up in. I think they're in the South East League.
Yeah.
Whereas like someone like 5 minutes up the road's in the Central League, so it's all a bit sort of messed up. But look, we've got to do what we've got to do, and boys still want to play rugby, so we'll definitely do that. We'll have a bit more of a run into the season next year with some proper games. We only managed the one pre-season game this year. Make sure we're nice and organised, ready to go come July, and go from there. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, I know that we've got, I think 3 or 4, and that was saying to me about pre-season games, one of them being, I think, our last proper guest on here, Matty Everard's Long Eaton, and a few other kind of local teams to see where we pick. I think it'd be good, and I think Nathan agrees, and you'll probably agree, to play teams who we've played in the last few years to see where they're going to stand. Because obviously we've missed 1 or 2 key players, one of them being our club captain. He was going to come on today, but unfortunately unavailable. But to go into next season,
story of his season.
Well, yes, story of his season. But to go into a season with maybe not a better pre-season in the terms of training, but a better pre-season in terms of fixtures, might actually do better for the ones. And with the, I think we could
do more in pre-season as well. I think last year we actually went into the season with a totally different game plan.
Yeah.
Which after about 6-7 games, we decided we should revert to what we knew well. So we spent a lot of time doing that. Whereas this year we'll just carry on playing the way we are.
Yeah.
Which we've sort of augmented to suit us, and then a lot more sort of fitness. I know that lads are getting in touch with me already about getting prepared for pre-season, which is pretty good. So I've sent out one or two sort of little plans for people already. So I think the plan is just to roll into it. Let's try and be as fit and as strong as we can be, and the rugby take care of itself, because we've been doing that for 5-6 years together now.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, yesterday, I don't want to drop this in there, but I'm obviously a CrossFitter now. But Mr. James Reeson turned up to CrossFit yesterday, and he signed up and paid up to join for the next few months. So that's another possibility in the cards. I'm saying this on a platform where you can't deny it that much, but there are talks about seeing if our mate Yes would come to Pavs one pre-season night to put us through our paces.
I think his links with West Bridgeford are a bit too strong.
He said he's not bothered by that anymore.
Oh, okay.
He just likes me, and he likes Jim now, and he likes you. So that's 3 compared to whatever's down there nowadays. But yeah, that would be good. And also, before we got our guest on, also with the twos going into a more competitive RFU league, that's going to make a huge. Well, it should hopefully, fingers crossed, make a huge difference. Because opposed to playing kind of the same teams every week, we're going to be playing against Mansfield ones, Bridgie twos, which we've done a few times this season, and obviously these bigger, more competitive clubs. Do you see that as from a coaching point of view, beneficial to the first team and the club as overall?
Yeah, I think, if you're going to have a squad system, you need people to be playing competitive rugby week in, week out.
Yeah.
The pennants and the merits, or whatever they're called nowadays, just don't seem to be happening on a weekly basis. So, we're calling people up who haven't played, like Cal Mason played the other week, he hadn't played for 18 months or something ridiculous. So, it's important, I think, that we get in that league, even if we don't necessarily have to rampage it, and we just the lads just play some good rugby. That's the most important thing. We've got lots of young lads coming through. We can only take 18 on a Saturday in the first team, so we need to make sure these lads get something competitive on the Saturday. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it'd be interesting to see what the rules are in terms of moving players up and down and doing all that. I'm sure Guru will have the answers for me when I ask him. But yeah, I think personally for me, I think that's the best thing. And then our third team can just be that social side.
Yeah,
they can, and if they can muck in on a wet Saturday at Mansfield and help our twos out, then great. If they don't want to do that, then fair enough.
Yeah, and I think that's something to call out, because I know a few of the 13 players listen to this, but it's very much although the twos have gone into an RFU league, and obviously the ones are at level 5 at the minute, but it doesn't mean that we're sacking off the third team by any means. The third team is going to probably be one of the most important teams in the club, because of having to back up the twos. You have to back up the ones. So for those who are listening who've not played in a few years, before we get our guest on, jump in. It's definitely a good season to come back and play rugby, because we know we're going to get fixtures across the board, and so on and so forth. I've just dropped our guest a line for the Zoom, so we'll pause here and wait for him to come on.
You could be waiting a while.
So this is our special needs guest for the day, George Billam. How you doing?
Special needs, yeah. All right, Tom. Yeah.
Sam,
season's over.
When's the 21:43 landing in East Mids today? Do we know?
No, I'm just about to. After this call, actually, I'm just about to bring it in. It's not out there. That's my window in Nottingham. So
get his tennis table paddles out, and
nothing will be landing near my house, I hope. You never know with the world as it is.
You never know. So, George, you've obviously played quite a bit this season in the ones, even though you've had a few weeks out due to eye injuries and stags and stuff. What's your thoughts been on this season?
Well, we stayed up.
In a no relegation year?
Yeah, stayed up. So there's that. I think that kind of got the better of us. The whole organisation and reorganisation and no relegation, and yeah, I think we maybe left a bit lacking because of that. But all in all, it wasn't as good as we wanted it to be. But I think to be honest, what I sometimes feel guilty of is I completely still enjoy playing rugby at this level. It's like, it's so fun to be with the lads still. And I know a few of the games are getting absolutely pumped, but still thoroughly enjoy being around the team. And yeah, it was a good year, but we've left enough room for improvement. So let's leave it as that. Plenty of room for improvement, I think, would be the way I'd sum it up. But I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was one of those seasons. I think all these successes on life cycle, isn't it? So that you're gonna get years like this when he's slightly off the boil. It's just lucky that we haven't succumbed to finishing that level in the table. But yeah, it's very much a sum up, I reckon. So, what about you guys? You've been discussing it already. I've not obviously heard it yet. Is you kind of following the same?
Yeah, that's kind of where I put it. It's been a bit frustrating. We've lost a lot of people along the way. You know, Collingham's, Tippo. You know, Ewan disappeared off to Mexico for 3 months,
and then rocked up back at Pub Golf Week.
Yeah, and then, you know, Lockie's taken a holiday whenever he's fancied it, and
well, that's the way it is.
You can't stand up straight.
Most immobile will fly off in the league.
Hey, listen, I'm quite mobile. It's just in the wrong direction towards the floor.
just with gravity.
It puts me out for a few weeks. Anyway, we won't dwell on that because we've been there.
So, for a question for both of you, what's it been like playing in a league which is competitive, but knowing you can't actually get relegated? Has that been a bit of an issue, do you think, for yourselves or for the team as a whole? I mean, that might be a bit of an unjust thing to ask when you're not in that situation. But
I know for myself, it's difficult because I love the competition, and you kind of, yes, you get that week in, week out, but it kind of feels like sometimes it's not for anything. It is for a little bit of pride all the time, and ultimately we want to be improving our level in the league and etc. When it feels like you kind of not in a competition, found it hard a few times. Definitely. I don't know anyone would say it didn't affect the teams. Some of them that were going for promotion right at the top end, and then it may not have had so much of an effect, but yeah, I think down the bottom end, for some teams, that you can tell by the results. Some weeks, some teams absolutely pumping other teams out of nowhere, and then one team decides to have a week off and cops it. I mean, we were that team a few more times than we'd liked, but yeah, I feel like that crept into a few of the clubs. What do you reckon, Phil? Is that, I don't know, from a coaching point of view?
Yeah, it was a weird one. It was a hard one when we found out, because I said my thought was, well, we'll just play something. We'll just do it different. We'll just play differently. So we went into the season with a different game plan. So we probably threw away, 4 or 5 games at the beginning of the season trying to run this new game plan, and we didn't have a pre-season. And me and Tom have already skirted over that, so it was difficult. And then suddenly you're sort of fighting a losing battle, and you realise you're in the bottom 3, but actually it doesn't really matter. So it's quite a hard headspace to be in.
It was so kick-started, wasn't it? I mean, certainly for our club, with the way we did it, we did a lot over was it the summer? Was it still COVID? But we're kind of trying to stay together, sort of on a cyclical kind of organisation. But then, when I guess pre-season kind of slapped in the face a little bit. I mean, it was more to do with timing than anything else. Time with COVID and time with basically the way everyone's last 2 years have panned out, I think.
Yeah, I think coming off the back of COVID, we were very slow out of the blocks, and that's just because for 18 months we've had nothing organised and nothing prepared. And I think the first 2 months of our season probably show that. And then we did get back into it. We did sharpen up a bit, and then around Christmas, we always struggle around Christmas. We always have done as a club, but we really struggled. yeah, and then the back end of the season, we've just been absolutely ravaged by injuries and availabilities and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. Look, we're an amateur rugby club. It's going to happen. You can't do anything about it. I think we could just be better prepared next year and fly into a season where, you know, we got new opposition to play against and new teams to show what we can do and stuff like that. So I'll do my best to do that on one hip, one ankle, and half a knee.
And 2/3 of a hernia is still there.
More than you had. That's more than you had this year, though, isn't it? Have you improved in the last week?
Yeah. No, my shoulders are fine now.
I do think though the element of unknown is going to help our squad and our team, because there's some fairly experienced players in our squad now, and who played against a lot of different opposition, mainly around the Midlands. And yeah, some of the opposition that we've got, whilst it might be quite far away, I think for me there's certainly a little bit of it'll be a nice little novelty, I think, for the first year or two, going to these places and copping some of the oppositions and just wanted to put our brand out there, because they obviously don't know about us either. So I think that happened when we first got up to this level. There was teams that didn't know about us, so we wanted to show what we're actually about. So I think we'll get that back a little bit.
I was going to say, when you lads first got into this level 5, I think we could probably all look back and go, yeah, we stung some teams by them not knowing what we were like and what our game plan was. And I mean, it's not the hardest game plan in the world, but when executed properly, it's very hard to play against. Is that something you're both looking forward to getting back to, in a kind of mindset of, they don't know about us, fuck them, we don't know about them? But do you know what?
I think it also helps from the way around for some of our lads. You know, they get too worked up about who we're playing against, and they want to get their own back or do whatever.
Not worked up as such, but I think certainly with the level of that sort of age level and some of the players this year, there's more of a nervousness in, not nervousness, but kind of apprehension in, okay, I'm now in this team. This is what we did last year. We're not going that well this year. We need to, and it's kind of a bit of a kind of added up effect. Overthinking it, but they don't all do that. Some of them are just like completely level-headed and get on with it. But I certainly think if I was back in that back at that age, playing some teams that we've not played before, going up there in a squad, not into the unknown, but into a little bit of something that's nice and new. And it is a breath of fresh air. But whether it's still a breath of fresh air after 4 hours in the car, then we're going to find that out, or car or bus.
Yeah, we're going to need some fresh air after 4 hours in a car.
Especially in a car with you.
Right. I'm not having that at all.
Move on from that little slight dig. Going back to this season before we look forward again. We've obviously had a lot of lads that have had to step up this year, who may not in without injuries be having the opportunity to play at that level, or maybe they even would have done without the injuries. But there's been a lot of young lads. What's that been like? Because obviously we've had quite a solid first team kind of A team for the last few years. We've kind of known who's going to be in and around that. To have these new lads step up into positions where they've played out of position and stuff, has it been nice to see as to, without sounding horrible, aged members of our first team? Has that been a bit of a breath of fresh air? Have there been people that have impressed you?
Yeah. Without wanting to try and steal our Phil, I think it's been great. That has been a one massive positive of this season, is we've had the unfortunate injuries that we've had, and some of the mainstays, certainly in the back row and the back line, as it were. And there's been opportunity for these guys to just throw their hat in the ring. And I think if everyone's fit now, there's a few headaches that are going around the coaching staff. I can honestly say that, because the improvement of some of these guys from a little bit rabbit in the headlights to the end of the season, where I think it was Parish Notes at home. I wasn't playing him, but we sliced them apart. Again, we did it to Doncaster slightly, but there was a few other bits lacking, and obviously Scunthorpe, that was a complete performance. So all these guys have stepped up to the plate at different times, and really put the hats in the ring. So that's been a massive positive for me. As long as they can come back and do it again Preseason next year, then if it was going to have a few headaches, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's always nice to have sort of a batch of young players to come through, and I think they've all come through and done their part.
It can be hard to get them in, though. I think that's been a great thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to give them the experience. This is why the second's been in the league they're in next year is so important to me. Is there's nothing like playing a competitive league game. You can play all the pennant games you want, but when there's someone having a pint beforehand, it's not really that competitive. Yeah, Tom. I think this could be massive for the club, and those guys have done really well. Jack Taylor, Josh Alton-Smith. I mean, Ed James, even though he's a bit older, Lockie. They've all done, Owen Taylor. They've all done their bit. I'm not going to say one of the names because he doesn't deserve to be on here, but it's a great thing, and the club's in a good position. We could do with a few more, mainly around the front row coming through, but I think it's a great place. George, we wanted to ask you 2 questions. We don't want to keep you long because we know you've got daddy duties to do in the morning, and maybe even now.
Not now. They're all asleep, thank God, including
Why?
Yes, the wife.
What was your favourite game of this year?
Give me some tips. What ones did we win? Let's start with that.
Oakmere away.
Oakmere away.
Not Oakmere, sorry.
That's the golf course. You really have stopped playing. You really have. The season's really over for you, isn't it? When you play there, tomorrow, that'll be you tomorrow.
I was meant to be there tonight. Arundel, away.
Arundel away was nice. It was nice to win there.
Horrendous weather.
It wasn't great. I think I scored again there at Arundel, which I've never not scored there, so that was good. And it was also 2 days after my daughter was born, which is exactly the same as 3 years before. I played 2 years after Billy was born away at Arundel. So that was a nice little game. It was nice to get out of the house, certainly, that one. And I think, you know what, Scunthorpe the other week, it was. I do think that was one of the best wins that we've had, because it was just complete. They played quite well, I think, as well. We kept them out, and then we managed to scrape it, so that was good. They'd be my 2.
And do you have a favourite moment from the year?
Not what I've been asking this before. My brain works. Favourite moment from the year.
Doesn't have to be match related. It could just
apart from having a week off going to Twickenham.
An extended stay in Twickenham.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you heard about that then. No, I just think the overall, it's not really person related. It's more to do with my new Sunday that I've got now with Billy taking up to Little Rugby. Literally, he's talking about it on a Monday already. He's on about when he's going to Rugby next. Don't know what to tell him this week. We're gonna have to find something else to do. But yeah, that's been great this year. We're really getting into it, and it's been we're getting up on a Sunday, spending some more time up there, and seeing a few more of the teams playing and having a jar or 2. But I'd say that's a big difference for this year, and it's one that I've really enjoyed. So
that is probably part of the club that we don't talk about much on here is what goes on a Sunday, and I'm up there relatively often as well, and sometimes by Georgia jar.
It is really good. It keeps us out of trouble, but it kind of doesn't sometimes as well. So it's sort of, we get out of the house for 4 hours away from, obviously, the missus can, a bit of time off from the kids, or kid for me. But,
when do you, can I just ask, when do you have time on with the kids and the missus? Because you seem to be nowhere near them most of the week.
So Sunday.
Sunday evening.
Any time before 9 and any time after 5, basically. That's me. So yeah, it is full on Tom. So don't come spinning that one. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's nice. We get time away up there and set a little crash from the corner and don't drink too many pints.
Sounds good. Before we let you go, because you are one half of the two playing first team Billams, we also reached up to our club captain before we invited you on. We asked your brother to come on and he wasn't available, but he's literally just messaged his highlights of the season so far. And I just thought, while you're here, you can comment, George, and Phil, you can as well. Our Prince, our club captain, Dougie, said two of his highlights of the season were Will Taylor's 6 tries against Donny Felix. We don't like chatting up Will Taylor. But also the defensive.
Who was it against? What against?
6 tries against Donny Phoenix.
No, negative. It was someone else because we just played Phoenix at home last game. Was it against Nuneaton? Not Nuneaton.
No.
It was against Broad Street.
Yes.
Broad Street. Well, firstly, at least the captain was pissed on the side for most of it. But one that I know you both failed to comment on will be the defensive effort against Scunthorpe. Probably not the first time they travelled down to us, I imagine. But talk us through that defence against Scunthorpe, either of you. Why was that one of Dougie's favourite of the season? Was it one of them miraculous moments everyone switched on?
Just felt like it's kind of rolled back to before COVID, didn't it? How we used to defend, basically. Yeah, it was good. I didn't make any tackles, non-notable ones anyway. So.
There was just an intensity about us that day. I don't know what it was. Something about the competition. I don't know, but
it must be, and I think it is. I think that competition side of it. I mentioned it before a bit earlier. It certainly switches me on to stuff, and I know a few others in the team. I like that. So, it must have just been that. The fact that I've been put back with the holders of it, and onwards to the final, whenever that may be.
Yeah. So supposedly facing the final 24th-ish of August.
I think it's a bit late. I think it's the week after.
How is it? The 24th plus 7 of August.
30th. Hang on. I've got my little calendar.
I had it with bank holiday, which is absolutely.
Yeah, it's the bank holiday, so it's the 28th.
28th of August. What a showdown to start, end the season. Who knows? What a ridiculous fucking call.
Anyone going to be there? That's the question.
I was going to say.
So we play it in, where does everyone go on holiday? I don't know.
2 days before.
Magaluf. Should we play it in Magaluf?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't. Who are we playing in it? Who do we?
Bridgeford, probably.
Where's
might be a few more their sort of age group down in Magaluf rather than ours.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know.
And knowing our luck, if it is West Bridgeford, it'd probably be in the middle of Lincolnshire. Yeah, you boys have to play the final because obviously that's how the NLD work. They have no fucking common sense. George, thanks for. That's all right. They don't listen. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Not a problem, boys. Cheers for that.
Have a nice rest over pre-season. Try and lose some of that Thursday night Negroni from the old gut. I keep having to fork out for you every Thursday. But that's
this is vicious. That's a vicious.
It is vicious.
You know what's a vicious rumour? Negronis don't go on your gut. It's all the other stuff. What?
Yeah, mine goes straight to the tits. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, George, have a good rest, mate, of the pre-season, and we'll see you in a bit.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
That was George Billam. Normally, I say good guy, but I'm not sure he is.
I know he's not.
He's not. I know he's not. I know he's not. 3 parish notes. The first one, President's Day. Phil, what date is President's Day?
21st of May.
21st of May. 21st of May is President's Day. I think there's a few games going on President's Day. I think the girls have been asked to play. The academy have been asked to play. But I know for a fact that the second and third team are putting out a squad against. I've got it in front of me.
Cotton Willow's Old Boys.
That's it, Cotton Willow's Old Boys. So that should be a good.
They've given themselves a nickname, but I can't remember what it is. Is it like Vipers or something like that?
Vipers. Oh wow. But anyone that is involved in Pavs or involved in Cotton Willows, get up to the club on the 21st of May. It's going to be a good weekend. It will celebrate both, supposedly, according to the website, both President's Day and the Queen's Jubilee. So if we're going patriotic, get up there on the 21st of May. And then the big 100-year celebration of the 25th of June. Is that what you just told me? 25th of June. It's going to be a big get-together. Really, really smart do for us. I don't know how we're going to cope. I don't know if we're going after-match attire, but it's going to be a good sit down, doing a few drinks and a bit of a raffle at the Park or Crown Plaza. One of the plazas.
One of the plazas in Nottingham, yeah.
One of the plazas in Nottingham. Tickets are £50 unless you get a table.
Get a table. So,
what if I put?
I've just come up with an idea.
Go on.
It's competition time.
Okay, bottle of Lambrini for the winner.
Well, no. I was thinking,
okay,
because me and you are going to have a table.
We are.
We're going to have a PavsPod table.
Oh, yes.
People can apply to sit on the PavsPod table.
Amazing. It's going to be really sad when it's just me and you.
Yeah. If we get enough applicants, it will be £40 a ticket or £45 a ticket or whatever.
As I say, we're not subbing it, but yeah. £45 a ticket to sit with me and Eggy. Go to Eggy's table. It'll be the booziest of all tables. I will make sure I persuade our board to give us a few bottles of Lambrini for the table to keep it authentic, to keep it real. Classy. It is especially classy. Who doesn't love a Perry on an evening? But yeah, it's going to be a really good night. It's going to be a chance for us to celebrate Pavs now and Pavs over the last 100 years. I'm sure there'll be people that we will wish were sitting around the table but no longer with us. But it's a good time to celebrate what we have done over the years and looking forward to what we're going to do over the next 100 years as well.
Yeah. So if you want to be on our table, you have to WhatsApp Tom or I.
Oh.
I am a centurion.
I am a
centurion to sit on the PavsPod table.
And if you're one of them, I was going to say weirdos, people who do not have our numbers, but yet still want to hear us chat shit every week.
You can send that to the Instagram or the Facebook page.
Exactly. I am a centurion. So get them into us and we'll put you on the table. But there is only going to be 8 spots. 8.
Because there's 2 of us. Yeah.
There's 2 of us and 10 minus 2 is 8. So that's where it's from. And the final announcement is it will sound sad as I start it, but it's a happy moment. This is the last PavsPod as we know it. We are venturing into a new world come the start of next season. We are going to be PavsPod presents the Midlands Rugby podcast. So Phil, what's that going to consist of?
So we're going to spread our wings a little bit and speak to a few more of the clubs in a similar position to Pavs in and around the Midlands, which sounds a bit weird because now we're going to be playing in the Northeast, but we don't know anyone in the Northeast, so we're going to stay with the Midlands. Just get a sort of an understanding of what other clubs are doing, how they're doing it, and you know, how they get on with it. And it'll be really interesting. We'll be touching base with previous people quite often, I would have thought, but I think we're going to call it the Midlands podcast, and then we can get away with it a little bit more, can't we, Tom?
Oh, we can. We can. That can be from the lowest level to the highest level. So we will definitely be aiming to get some of the pros from the Midlands, the semi-pros from the Midlands, but also We want to hear about what's going on at other clubs in our area, be that our rivals of people like Newark and people like that. We want to realistically know what's going on in your club and what grassroots rugby means to you effectively. So that'd be a really good step into the direction of us becoming influencers. I don't know if that's the term.
That's 100% not the term.
Not the term.
More self-obsessed is the word I think you're looking for.
Yeah, more narcissistic than ever. So yeah, but that's it. That's the season done. That's us done. We've got a nice few weeks off. I'm sure we'll be planning in the background, but Phil, it's the last part of the season. I don't know if you've got anything for me, but I'm up here. Phil, any wise words? Get to CrossFit with Goat and Jim Reese. Is that a wise word? Probably not.
Relatively well. If you're Kieran Wells, then that is a really good wise word.
Come to last, but it's fine. Anyone that wants to come. But Phil, any wise words?
Always wear sunscreen and a hat.
Thank you very much. I needed to hear that because I got burnt as fuck on Saturday.
There you go. What can I say?
There we go. Wise words, actually meaningful. But Phil, thank you very much for this season. We'll speak to you next season. But bye.
Bye.